place at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, September 7th through the 12th. You'll want to join us there. A few tickets remain. Next up, round two, best of three. Introducing first out of Tempe, Arizona for the Sunkist Kids, the 2012 U.S. Olympian at 55 kilos. Please welcome back, this is Kelsey Campbell. Her opponent wrestling for the New York AC, the 2013 and 2014 U.S. Open champion. Please welcome Allie Reagan. We go to mat number two, the introductions there. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the mat from the Sunkist Kids, a three-time NCAA champ for Penn State, a 2014 U.S. World Team member. This is Ed Ruth. His opponent wrestled for Northwestern University, ladies and gentlemen, from Ann Arbor, Michigan, part of the New York AC and Cliff Keen Wrestling Club. Please welcome Jake Herbert.
So we are going to get things underway here. 86 kilos. Ed Ruth, Jake Herbert. Mark, this is one we've been looking forward to for a long time.
Absolutely.
This best of three series. And in the first match, it's Jake Herbert dominating 13-3 technical fall over Ed Ruth, who, you know, he's had his ups and downs today in this tournament. And key for Ed Ruth is composure here. He was in this spot a year ago, down 1-0 to Keith Gavin, and able to make it a series and end up winning the best of three series. Really came in the clutch in match two, picked up a fall in match two over Keith Gavin, mind you. It really turned the tide here, and Ruth comes in opening with the takedown, takes the 2-0 lead 30 seconds in, which I think is big for Ed Ruth. You got to get that confidence going, especially after you just got, tech fouled by Jake Herbert.
Got beat up bad. No two ways about it. This is a completely different Jake Herbert that we're seeing out here. He gets better and better every single time he comes on this match. It's kind of been a big publicity about his return back from wrestling, and it's been a big publicity because he keeps getting better every single time he steps on that mat. Every time you see he gets pinned by Ed Ruth the first time they wrestle, turns it around at the open, and now Tech falls him in this last match.
Absolutely. So consistent gains from Herbert. And same can be said for Ruth. You know, he's made big gains since making the World Team a year ago.
And that'll be a 4-pointer for Jake Herbert as he came out the back on that submarine, popped up, and that'll be 4. That's a huge score early for Jake Herbert.
Right, and expect no shortage of points when these two supremely talented athletes get on the mat. Both guys very offensive. In particular, Ed Ruth, who I don't know if you recall his World Cup match against the Cuban, Salas, put up 20-some-odd points. I think it was 24 points. He shot the entire match, single leg, the entire match. You know, perhaps a little bit more tactical against Jake Herbert, who you know is a very solid counter-offensive wrestler as well. But Ed Ruth's strength is definitely the offensive game.
Another shot in from Herbert. Looking to turn that corner. He comes seatbelt there. And they were in this position in the last match a lot too, where Herbert would shoot to that single leg, come up to that seatbelt, and it looks like Ruth's going to be able to kind of get out of that and we'll break. And Herbert just rocking that mullet, absolutely.
Absolutely, he looks great.
A la Joe Dirt. It looks awesome out there.
Yes, he does. And Herbert's in on the shot now, trapped underneath. Ed Ruth working the front headlock. He's got to pinch tight. Will he slip it off to a shot? I got a feeling that's, oh, he's going to go for the roll. He's going to get caught on his back. Jake Herbert looking for the fall here. Ed Ruth on his elbows, scooting back.
And this is huge. If Ruth could escape off his back.
Close to the edge.
He's in big trouble here. He's in big trouble, Richard. This is tight.
Ed Ruth, he's going to weasel his way out of this one. But
it looked like Ed Ruth
he's going to get hit with a fleeing call as well. On your back, going out of bounds from the center of the mat. That's an easy call for the official. So another caution against Ed Ruth. 2 points on the board in addition for Jake Herbert. He's got an 8-2 lead, and Jake Herbert gets parterre preference, so he's going to go back on top.
And you see the Angry Bird being thrown from Zeke Jones in the corner.
I'm not sure what Zeke wants to
And Ed
challenge
Ruth says
here.
no, they throw it back. And Ruth will start down. And so we'll start down in parterre here since Ruth got called for fleeing the mat on the edge there. And it's 8-2 score right now for Herbert.
Herbert on top, up by 6. Can he lock something up, though? Going gut wrench, going to drive it right side. And short time as well. He's going to get a turn.
Wow.
Now Ed Ruth, he was battling on his hands, perhaps looking to get a counter exposure. But with 7 seconds left, we return the center, and Jake Herbert, one takedown away from his second tech fall on Ed Ruth in a matter of 30 minutes.
I wonder when the last time Ed Ruth got tech falled twice in the same tournament.
I'm going to go on a limb and say never.
In the net in 30 minutes. I mean, that's crazy. This guy's probably never been tech falled.
Jake Herbert appears to be on another level tonight. And you mentioned the consistent strides and consistent gains from Jake Herbert. Each competition, he feels like he's getting better and better. Even at the Open, when he won, he said, my conditioning's not there. I'm not where I need to be to compete for a world medal. And right now, if he's not there yet, he's awfully close to compete for that world medal. Obviously a world silver medalist.
Yeah.
So he's already claimed one. That was
back in 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
But he's right there with all the top guys in the world at this weight class. Now Ed Ruth, we've seen him down by 8 points, a massive amount of points before, and he's able to come back from that most of the time. But Jake Herbert's counter offense, his positioning is so good. I gotta find it hard to believe Ed Ruth can come back from a deficit like this on Jake Herbert without giving up a good amount of points.
If you're Herbert, you want to go get a score here. You don't want to let a guy like Ed Ruth hang around with you and let him in the match. And Herbert downblocks, gets off that shot, comes back to an underhook. And you really want, if you're Herbert, you got to score here and end this thing quick.
A single leg here from Herbert. Ruth now counters with a single leg of his own. Both guys close there, but we break the action. Come back to the center. And Jake Herbert, Ed Ruth on the single leg now.
Yeah, he's in deep here, Richard.
Yeah, he's going to try and shelf it, bring it up to the feet, limp arms out, but Herbert, he knows what's coming there. The limp arm, he's able to circle out nicely. And, Jake Herbert, you got 2 minutes left. No need to force anything because Ed Ruth can strike with a fall like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Don't force anything, but take a solid attempt, and you can end this match. And that's what you're thinking if you're Herbert. Now, Ruth, by the same token, you have to be solid because you can't give up a takedown. If you give up a takedown, you lose the match. You're done.
Ruth, he just looks so relaxed out there. He's down 8 points, but he's so relaxed. He's sticking to where he's good, and he could go from 0 to 100 real quick.
One thing I'm noticing, both guys hands on the knees off that whistle. Ruth in particular looks quite tired. And you got to imagine the grind he's gone through today. Does he have juice in the tank to come back from 8 points down in a minute and a half?
Yeah, obviously.
It's going to be tough.
We remember that crazy semifinal match he had with John Reeder where a lot of controversial stuff going on. He's able to come out on that 24-18. So he's been through the grind today, like you said.
Well, he's going with his misdirection low level single leg. He's awesome with that. But, as it sits, you're down by 8. You got to make something happen.
Yeah.
A minute left. He's trying. He almost looks defeated on the mat right now.
Yeah.
And they head back to the center.
This isn't the same Ed Ruth that you're used to seeing. Or this just might be that much better of a Jake Herbert than we're used to seeing.
So Ed's driving forward a little bit. Herbert in the zone, approaching the zone. Now he switches mat position. It's Herbert at the center. Ruth still pressuring forward. He's in on the single leg. Herbert just slips out of it, and he keeps doing that. He's going to get hit for a fleeing the hold call eventually. And you saw the mat official point at Herbert, giving him a verbal warning. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. Ruth's going to have to lock something up big here. He's got to get consecutive turns.
Yeah, with 20 seconds left on the clock, he's got to go and get to something if he's going to have any chance for himself. And he doesn't look like has too much of a sense of urgency here, down 8.
Well, he's going to give it another attempt here. But it's going to be Jake Herbert making another world team dominating performance tonight over Ed Ruth. Takes the first one 13-3, second one 10-2 over Jake Herbert. I know a lot of mutual respect between these two guys, but Jake Herbert on a